So, here we go. Welcome to Farther Down the Rabbit Hole. My name is Paula Gloria, and I'm streaming to you today from RabbitHoleCentral. Today we have a lot of topics to cover, a lot of really exciting topics, and we might have some very exciting call-ins. So we're streaming Baba, and beneath him is that very controversial symbol, the swastika. And it symbolizes the work that I'm trying to do here, which is to be aware of those symbols and those instances in our life that are a little bit difficult to look at. But if we look at them, we can unleash the power that's held in that which we actually find aversive and start to embrace better realities, more realities. Here I'm also been streaming and showing a picture of the future combat system. And there are websites that you can go to where you can learn all about the advanced weaponry that's being developed today, and it's being developed with very, very little attention from the media. These are some of the people that are doing it. I think from the stream you can't really tell that this guy has in a very poor way been photoshopped in. I haven't actually taken a big look at that one. And here, Noble Resolve, here are some of the, let me see if I can get on the other page. This is the directed energy test and evaluation capability. I think I'll make it a little bit bigger or smaller. So there we have a whole logo about this. RabbitHoleCentral.
Yeah, this is nicointellpro.
Hey, Nico. Are you watching the stream? I guess you are, because I can hear my voice.
Good job. I actually tried to promote our new show, but I might help you out a little bit.
Okay, why don't you turn down the sound, because it's making an echo. And yeah, I was showing that we have a dragon here, and it says DETEC, which sounds like there's very much a directed energy project.
Yeah, see, right now I think you're scrolling through some older research of mine, which is parked at fcs.shorturl.com, which makes 5-digit hits at 9movement.org. Since last year, in connection with 9/11, but they bring the Hangout version. Now, on this page, fcs.shorturl.com, I present all the contractors during 2000, which obtained a contract by the NSA, NRO, and related agencies on Future Common System. Future Common System is a cross application between space and the ground. That means you can also in real time analyze and work with data related to these direct energy tests in space or on the ground. It has also additional application of media feed overrule systems, or working with the media in real time so that they can work on TV Fakery applications.
Now, why would they want to do that, Nico? Work on TV Fakery from military?
Well, because it's all about simulations, and so they have this also as VR virtual reality applications. If you improve basically GPS systems in space, and you have mappings and zoning systems like Google Earth, Alpha, or Future Common System, then you can replace in real time these mapped, digitalized houses, trees, twin towers, and replace them then with just a copy of the original. And then you can basically play with that copy as a SimCity model and tune in, fade out, CGI.
So
it's my main thesis on 9/11, that they use exactly a beta type of that application, Future Common System.
Hang on, I have another.
Related applications that use the same.
Just a second, hang on. RabbitHoleCentral.
Yeah, hi, Paul. It's certainly George calling back.
Hey, George, is there a number where I can reach you?
No. How soon can I call you back?
If I can't call, I can't conference you, so I need to have a number. There's no number?
No, I have to call you.
Okay, then you're going to have to wait until we're finished with this. Are you watching the stream?
Yes.
Okay, why don't you watch for 10 more minutes and then call? Or as soon as he's finished.
Good.
Thanks. Nico?
Yeah, the next picture is very important, which you show right now.
Okay. And now SimCity means simulate, right?
Yeah, simulate. Not to be confused with Flight Simulator.
Okay.
Flight Simulator, they have much more crappier solution. They have a parallax view. This is often used by some no-planers or no-brainers to oppose the TV Fakery thesis, because flight simulators have parallax view, but Google Earth does not have this. It neither has feature comment system.
Parallax view?
Well, the fact is that if you move from the camera position to the left or to the right, the object will also be shown in a different angle.
Okay, and now Google Earth does not have that?
No, the point is, if you replace the vantage point with the desktop view of future comment system, then you have it frozen. So once you have a scenery frozen, you have a real-time simulated city.
I see.
So three-dimensionalized.
Oh, it's kind of like the chroma key that we use on the television.
No, the chroma key is blue screen. Don't confuse that. But they can also use the blue screen, which they obviously use. I don't want to go too much into TV Fakery now. Just focus on wrap it up. BBC report today.
Okay.
I would like to describe the next picture. It's very important here right now.
The one I have?
Yeah, that is also another confirmation that the U.S. State Military Air Force using future combat system which integrates direct energy weapons.
Okay.
They confirmed that during a war game last year. This here should be a picture of, you can help me out, it is described under this. I think it was...
Air Force experiments with directed energy weapons at the Pentagon during USJFCOM's Urban Resolve 2000.
Yes, Urban Resolve, and there was also Noble Resolve, and remember maybe the 9M Stalker TV when I called in and asked if they used also, if they can give us confirmation if they used also direct energy weapons during Noble Resolve. This was sabotaged by the Portland 9M Truth activists.
Now, what's an active denial system? What does that mean?
ADS is another, well, that's between ground and space application. Space starts officially, I don't know, at a particular altitude. So, I don't know, 12,000 miles or something like that. That's already space. Okay. So that is what Boeing is using. So the ADL is attached to the nose of a Boeing.
Okay.
So, and let's go back to 9/11. I'm not supportive of the reduced space species of Judy Wood. I'm saying any kind of weapons which are sophisticated have been used. Any kind of ground applications where in the majority which integrate direct energy weapons. So it's possible that including the miracle upgrade also from the ground, maybe from neighbor buildings, direct energy weapons were pointed on those twin towers. Maybe even in Building 7 and Building 6, Deutsche Bank, Hilton, these are all speculations. Then they have to make a mathematical calculation until then they point enough on these towers so that they then disintegrate and have side effects, even earthquakes.
I see.
Okay, so main point is these weapons were used before 9/11, tested successfully, work on the ground, on space, and lower altitude. And the names of the companies are documented, they're illustrated, and they're archived, and they're reconfirmed, and there is literature about this. So in opposite of how Chandler said the other week, I told him several times he should just go there, and it's all there. It's on the website. You find some mainstream articles. Also for the last few months, they're constantly confirming they have these weapon systems. And today is an AP video about the shoot down of the missile from last night, which doesn't show the missile. It shows once again this missile is linked to a Raytheon system, which is linked to the 1997 test from Raytheon. So you have a clear chronology, including the Missile Defense Agency, who confirmed to me on the phone, no, not to me, but confirmed on the phone and a local radio station that they're using direct energy weapons since 1996. 10 years. I used them in the mashup. And if people would become activists and just talkivists on the internet, they could go today to the YouTube page of AT and just write additional information. Yeah? They can accuse Professor Jones again of war crimes, which I think he committed. He's still supporting the thermite thesis, which cannot match anymore, since we have this huge amount of information opposing this thesis. He was rigging the test. He was several times debunked by both flag waivers and truth links that it is unscientific, and so that's the main point.
Okay, can you show me this picture? This looks like drippy metal. I thought that was thermite.
Well, no. This is a test, successful test from, I think, 6-inch steel damaged by direct entry weapon laser. They're using chemical lasers and any kind of strength.
Okay, but that doesn't make it dust. What accounts for all the dust?
Well, but this photo is maybe proof that they possibly also use direct entry weapons for the whole of both twin towers, which simulated a hole of a way too much plane. And in one of the holes, two people at least were standing. One, Edna Clinton, which is the research of Webfairy, and she also found another guy. These are basically the first no-planers who obviously were waving, hey, there's nothing going on here, just this hole, and it's maybe hot, which comes from the direct entry weapon. And so that was also the show today, as I understand.
Right.
Follow-up research.
No, we put that show to tomorrow.
And the saboteurs who claim that the photos had been photoshopped while ignoring the video footage from the first generation.
Right, right. We're going to actually have that show tomorrow because Webfairy needed more time.
No, well, I hear she's still working with it. She might be flexible.
Yeah.
It's possible that I'm actually right now chatting to her as Skype, but you have to then chat to her. I just try to bring a short update. If you like, I can go with you more to the pictures.
Well, could you explain this picture again?
Well, this is a photo during a war game called, well, this is Miracle. Right now you have Miracle. That was the first official application pointing direct entry weapons into space and destroying later than also the same weapon system or weapon, the satellite. So that they use either this or missile combinations. I don't go too much into details, but it's not so important. But this is here called Miracle, M-I-R-A-C-L, from 1997.
You know something? Until I noticed that little guy sitting at the bottom, I thought this was sort of a small thing. But I can see it's huge because, see, there's a guy sitting there.
Well, this is what they show the public, so maybe you have to use many of them, or there's another black budget, and they have bigger things.
Now, would this thing produce the kind of hole that could make that metal melt?
No, you don't need Miracle for that. They have small chemical lasers who can match that already.
I see, okay.
This is for bigger things. That's just maybe for twin towers.
I see.
I'm saying it's not necessarily about the space weapons, because the space weapons are already a distraction. I'm saying they're able to do
Right.
destroy stuff from here to space and from space to here.
I
But,
see. I
again,
see.
I believe in my thesis, 90% at least was destroyed from ground.
I
And maybe
see.
there's an additional test, and maybe they used also UAVs plus the Boeings, a lot of other stuff to destroy, like the Spire. They might have used also antimatter weapons and other weapons they have, working up any kind of unconventional weaponry. They might have used a huge mix, including advanced mini-nuclear weapons, everything, so that they have enough hangouts against each other. Once we're finding all these types, the no-brainers fighting against each other, which weapon was now used? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. I always said they used all of them. It's nothing plus X hit the towers, and X is a direct entry weapon, plus Y plus Z plus so on, so on, so on.
Well, Nico, I think that's great. We have another caller that wants to be calling in, so do you want to say any more, or maybe you can give us
I just want to promote our new satire show called 9 and TV Fakery.
Okay.
There are two fucked up TV Fakery activists
Uh-huh.
called R and N, that's the latest project, Ryan and Nico, and making huge hits now with some remixes of the show and side projects, like we did a Prince 1999 remix.
Okay.
Remixed by Portable Music. It made 2,000 hits. In remix was even wiped for a while, but back up again to Portable Music. We also made, we officially joined now the Hillary for You and Me campaign, because Hillary for you and me. It's a plagiarized song of Section 5 ABC.
Well, we're going to hear a little bit about Hillary right now, I think, because I'm hoping Ugly George is going to be calling.
Yeah,
okay?
Anyway, so please support R&N, Hillary for you and me.
Okay.
And we will go back to ground zero this Saturday, hopefully with a camera. Right now I have a camera problem. And filming on X video. Will be again a cover version. And we bring the Deutschland über alles, one of my last mashups, private mashups. And having a lot of fun opposing We Are Unchanged.
We Are Unchanged. Okay, that sounds
Obama,
great.
Because change means no change.
Okay, I got you, Nico. Thanks for calling.
Okay, have a nice day and good luck with Turthsleuth and Webfairy. I hope this is coming up.
Okay, bye. Rabbit Hole Central.
Yeah, I'm trying to break in. If you can get
Oh, great. So, George, I don't think you knew this part of me, but that was a report that we got from Nico Haupt about directed energy weapons.
Yeah, I saw that.
I wonder if I should bring your side up. This is part of my apartment here.
Yeah.
Anyway, any comments that you have to make?
Yes, okay. It's interesting that the New York Times has come out with a slander alleging that John McCain had an affair 8 years ago with a female staffer. Not a word about Barack Obama.
Yeah, right.
Way of answering the Barack Obama truth here is let's dredge up something against the filthy Republican. Okay? I find that very interesting. Not a word about Obama, not a word about this conspiracy, not a word about the cover-up for 9 years about this, okay? But they suddenly disguised that McCain had an affair with a female staffer.
Right, right.
Okay? In other words, to have an affair with a female is somehow dirty and underhanded, but to have an affair with a man, well, that's okay. And that shows you where the Times is at, doesn't it?
But as we said yesterday in the show that we did at MNN, you said just let the people decide.
Absolutely, okay. So it's interesting, the Times and the other media.
I've got your website up here. Can you explain to some of my viewers who don't know you who you are?
Okay, Ugly George is the guy that was satirized in the movie Ghostbusters with the silver suit and the backpack. Bill Murray walked up to me on the street and he said, "Where do you think I got the idea for the silver suits and backpack in Ghostbusters?"
Really?
I said, "Gee, Bill, that looked familiar. What's my cut?" And he said, "See you around, kid. Thanks for the great idea."
Right, right.
He's very ungrateful. Anyway, whatever I did has been ripped off, imitated by Girls Gone Wild and everybody else, which is why he's in jail, because he doesn't do it for real. He actually pays the girls up front, and it's all set up.
Right.
It's like Candid Camera was all set up.
Right,
What
right.
I did with the girls was not set up. It was absolutely real. Sometimes they were hits, sometimes they were misses. I have to tell you this, sometimes the girls said naughty things that I dare not repeat on your high-class show. Okay? Girls can be very naughty at times and say dirty words, right?
Well,
But
I think...
I picked up a lot of girls in my time, got them nude in hallways, got the video, and uglygeorge.com, which is www.uglygeorge.com, features some stills. It will soon feature some video of these pickups. And it also includes some very high-class, highbrow people that watch my show, but were a little bit in the closet about it.
Right.
There's the New York Post, such as Geraldo Rivera.
Oh, let me go to the New York Post, okay? Because Nico Haupt likes the New York Post because he says a lot of times you'll see in the New York Post what the left liberals are not covering.
Okay, well, they covered Ugly George, or uncovered Ugly George.
They uncovered you, okay.
Right.
So you are called the porno king, and yet you don't consider what you do pornographic.
I consider myself a great artiste.
Okay.
Okay, just like Rembrandt and Van Gogh, except I paint with a video camera.
Uh-huh.
What is there better like on your logo with the Medusa goddess there with her boobs hanging out, okay?
Oh yeah, you caught that. I'm really glad you caught that, because I was trying to say.
That's really a picture of you, isn't it?
Right, in another lifetime that was me.
But that was you in 1500 BC with your boobs out.
Yes, right. That was the point.
Were you worshipped by the men of Manoa?
Not only was I worshipped by those men, I kept the society in order, right? That's the idea of the goddess, and that's the idea of coming forward and taking responsibility for femininity in any shape, way, or form.
Every time. Guys look at boobs and suddenly they fall right to order.
That's a very interesting point. And
that's two interesting points.
Very good, George. I told Molly that it was really fun doing that show with you yesterday, and I also looked over George Stoney's interview that I had with him today, and I think that now is the time for us to kind of draw together all of our experience and how public access came about with cable, because although Harold Channer hates to acknowledge this, television used to be free before cable. And initially it was thought that it would just be a little bit of money, like when they signed up to see your show, because we pointed out in our discussion yesterday that the sales were very flat for cable because it was a rebroadcast. It was mostly to get a stronger signal into the homes that had towers and buildings in front of them. It was ghosting, right?
Yes. Well, you left out the word corruption. You see, the way that Time Warner and other outfits got the franchise was to promise, yes, it's pay TV, but not very much. We'll give it to you for, let's say, $10 a month. Let's say, right?
Right.
That was a few years ago. I believe the average bill in New York now is just under $100 a month.
I know. It's a lot of money.
$100 to $100.
Right.
And the way they do that, of course, is they say, well, we've given you more channels, and we've only increased it just a few percentage points this month. Next month, it's another few percentage points.
I know.
So-called channels are often phantom channels. So from $10 to almost $100, that's the average bill, and that's how cable is turned into a huge money-making machine.
What is a phantom channel?
Well, they would put on, for example, a rebroadcast of another channel and claim it was a different channel.
I see.
They would put on some nonsense that really was nonsense, knowing that no one was watching it, and say, see, we have 8 zillion channels. So that's why we've had to raise your rates 1,000%, because we have all these
1,000%, jeez. Say, George, Ugly George, when I used to be involved in telecommunication opportunities, after I made money in cellular telephone, I got interested in something called MMDS, and it was wireless cable.
Right.
And at that time, in anticipation of getting a license, as I did a cellular license before the Telecommunications Act of '96 came along and stopped that, I actually went and talked to a cable operator, I think somewhere in Southern California. And you know what I discovered? I discovered that there were 2 channels that people would pay for initially, but they would drop very quickly, you know, when they're trying to whittle down the budget. And the 2 channels were the Playboy channel and the Disney channel.
Right.
Both of them initially people wanted to have, but they got very tired of them. Now, what kept people coming back to your Ugly George show on public access when they would dump something sophisticated and polished like the Playboy channel?
That's exactly why. Sophisticated, polished, and written by scum known as writers. Okay? Who try to come up with a different plot, but after all, how different can you get? You know, sitting in some garret with a typewriter trying to come up with a different plot every night. It doesn't work. Whereas mine was actually reality TV. And I would go out in the streets, and then she would be a blonde, a brunette, she would be stuck up, she would be friendly, she would be a stewardess, she would be an actress, okay?
Right.
Everything except hookers and topless dancers. And you know why, right?
Because you weren't, why? No.
Because hookers and topless dancers, you could say a dirty 4-letter F word to them, and they hated it. And you know what that dirty 4-letter F word is, don't you?
Was it exit?
It was F-R-E-E.
Oh.
You said to a hooker or topless
Oh,
I
so
would like you to be nude on television for free. They got very indignant and they hit you with the purse.
so you and Harold Channer are like two peas in a pod, because that's what public access is all about, free.
Well, it's free, but not exactly, because again, the public has to pay the cable company.
I know. I'm very concerned about that.
Okay, and the cable company, as you know, in most places, as we talked about on your show yesterday, has found inventive ways not to allow any real public access unless they check it out first and censor it first.
Right.
And that's almost all of the cable systems of the United States.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it's not really public access. It's just bland access of whatever the government approves of or will let you get away with.
Right.
However, in New York, they did let us get away with, and I did get away with, picking up girls, taking them into hallways, convincing them to take their clothes off, and sometimes, if they were lucky, allowing them to take my clothes off.
How did that go?
Well, it went pretty well, because sometimes I'd set up the camera, and they would get a little aroused, and I would get a little aroused, and who knew what took place.
Can
Of
you?
course, we didn't put the hardcore stuff on the air. We call that the Tape of the Month Club.
You call that what?
The Tape of the Month Club.
Oh, I see.
Which is on my site. Those were the hardcore versions, but we could see the simple nudity, the simple TNA, and the pickups on my show.
Uh-huh.
And of course, the lowlifes would call up all the time, every time we did a live show, and say, "No, you took 5 minutes to pick up that girl. We don't want to see that. We want to get right to the action." And my answer was, "Want to get right to the action? Go buy a porn tape."
Oh, I see. So you really are an artist.
Absolutely. Van Gogh called me the other day on his phantom phone. And he said to me he wished that he had public access cable 100 years ago when he was in exile in France. And Rembrandt called me and he said he wished he had a video camera.
George, I don't know if you can see very well on the stream, but I want to show you what happened to the posting that we did yesterday. We decided to give it a provocative title, which may have got it sort of, put on the naughty pile. It says, "Ugly George strips Paula Gloria. Ugly George gets beautiful blonde Paula Gloria, Howard Stern punks, to pose nude while Barack Obama allegedly gets oral sex." And the tag words was "Ugly George, oral sex, Barack Obama, and Howard Stern." That's what I put on there.
Oh, okay.
Now,
has the first part gone up yet?
No, it says, can you see this? It says uploaded, and it's been uploading for hours now, for all night.
Mm-hmm.
And it says processed, please wait. So it's going to be very interesting to see what they do with this. Very interesting, because this is just kind of all in fun, right? The kind of thing you're doing, looking at women's bodies and so on.
Well, I think it's more than fun looking at women's bodies. I mean, I find it inspirational.
Well, okay, inspirational, and maybe that was the idea of the Cretan goddesses, because that's what you were looking at. That's what I have on my site. At a time when the breasts were something to be exposed and to be honored, that was a time. Yeah, and that was a time when there was more connection to the earth. It was related to success with the harvest. There was more harmony among society and all of the people. And the idea is that when you cover something up, then you start to create issues of shame and guilt. And with shame and guilt, you don't have all the power that you need to navigate your way through.
No, Paula, you're absolutely right. Every time I got a girl in a hallway and was having sex with her, I said, "I'm not doing this for the cheap trick of having sex. I'm doing it so I can commune with the earth."
To commune with what?
The earth. Okay? It was just so much fun to commune with the earth. I felt holy while I was doing that.
So tell me, what did you think of the show we did before about directed energy weapons? Did you have any idea how sophisticated they were?
No, I was amazed to find out this man has uncovered so much about that.
And do you know what he thinks is the next step to get people to have the power to face up to their responsibility? You know what he's using?
What?
He's using pornography, so-called pornography. But I think he's using more...
You know, if he gets them to watch, that's the first step.
I think what he's doing is more of what you've kind of stumbled onto. So you're feeling that when people are less repressed, they're more likely to make a better choice?
Yes, and again, one of my things is not only about the people, it's against big government. And big government with all its many, many excuses to censor everything and to control people's lives and to whittle away at the First Amendment. That's what I'm very concerned about.
I know you are. Now,
government that comes out and says we are absolutely for civil rights, freedom, equality, justice, First Amendment, except we must protect the people against this and that. We must protect this group. We must protect this religion. We must protect Howard Stern. We must protect the Nolan goddesses and children.
just a second. How do you mean protect Howard Stern? I thought he's the guy that's supposed to be, you know, running right into more transparency.
No, Howard is a very fragile person, and they have to protect him from your breast. Because if Howard were to gaze upon your breast, he might turn to stone, like, you know, like Lot and his wife, right?
No, but just a second. Howard Stern was known for exposing breasts. I saw a big group once, I think on Private Parts, where a woman had Howard on one naked breast and Stern on the other.
Yeah, well, you see, that's all paid for. And those girls are pros. And, you know, you can never tell them anything for free. Whereas I did that, and I'm still doing it, by the way, for free, because the girls thought it was fun, and I thought it was fun.
Wow, that is so interesting. This gets right down into Harold Channer's line. So you are saying that perhaps they even got some inspiration from you to do those as publicity tricks?
Yeah, but again, when you pay everything, and you pay girls, and you call up agencies with paid professionals, it kind of takes all the fun out of it, doesn't it?
It certainly does. It certainly does. I mean, sex is a good model for that. Nobody wants to pay for sex as opposed to having a connection of empathy and somebody's doing what they're doing because they really want to do it from their heart. That's a completely different thing.
You see, Howard Stern is not communing with the Earth Goddess, and I am.
It's very interesting. You know, it also uses models of nonviolent communication because Marshall Rosenberg said we live in a reward-punishment society, and that if you give somebody a label, you're not giving them the information that they need, and they start to become addicted to the reward or addicted to try to avoid the punishment of the wrong label. So it seems...
It's interesting that you say nonviolent and you use words like non-harmful, because the government is saying we have to censor what Ugly George, Paula Gloria, and other people do because it is harmful. And
you mean
your man Nico comes out and says, no, laser rays that burn holes in metal are harmful.
Right.
And the government is saying, no, naked women are harmful.
Right.
Sex is harmful, and it might be bad for you, and that's why we have to protect you from it.
Right.
But it's interesting they're not protecting you from lasers that burn holes in metal.
Yeah. No, I really see the logic.
Well, their logic is breasts are more dangerous than lasers.
Yeah.
I find that a little hard to, to go along with. You?
No, absolutely, and that's why I'm saying if people can hang in there and persist, because the idea of paying for sex, everybody understands is, you know, not the same thing as something done from the heart. But why not everything else that you do in life? Why shouldn't everybody be able to get up in the morning and do work that they love to do? Why be paid for it?
Well, you would make many enemies among those professional women if you said that to them, because that's what they do for a living. They sell sex.
Well, I tell you what, I will put the word out to see if I can have people come forward in that position, because we're not just talking about prostitution here. We're talking about every single human activity that involves slaving for wages. And most of the wealth today does not come from labor. It comes from capital. And that's why I'm so excited about binary economics, and I'm so excited about you after all these decades hanging in there and going up against a system that's pretty much based on rewards and punishments.
Thank you, and that's true because I have a moral crusade.
Right.
I'm a crusader like Teddy Roosevelt charging up San Juan Hill, you know, saying this is good for America and this is good for the world.
Right, right. Can you talk a little bit about Barack Obama? Because I think some people are going to be really, really crushed. They really had a lot of hopes that he was the savior.
Well, one of the knee-jerk words is change. And as you see, Obama has been making many, many videos where all he does is say the word change, and suddenly everyone erupts into orgies of excitement, sex or something. He just says, change, we got to have change.
Right, right.
And they get all excited like as if that really means something.
Right.
Okay? And that's a little bit objectionable. But what's more objectionable is if the people expect anything from their president, it's honesty. It's full disclosure. It's, I haven't always been a perfect human being. Let me tell you what I did before. And I hope you forgive me. But now I'm going to go on to be your president, and I've bared my breast to you, so to speak. Except Obama hasn't bared his breast to us.
Aha.
Very, very concerned. Okay?
Wow.
Man who wants to be president who says, I'm covering up some of the most important things in my past history, which you have a right to know about. And as I keep pointing out, I'm not sure you make this distinction yet. There are private citizens, but then there are politicians who want our votes. So
Right.
what a private citizen does in the back of his own car, or his house, or her house, is one thing. But what a politician does, who asks for our trust and respect, is quite another thing.
Right, right, right.
So for a politician to say, I'm covering up, I may be lying to you, I may be leaving out some of the most important errors and transgressions of my life, but it's okay for me to lie, that's very serious.
You're saying it's not.
I'm saying here that when a man wants to be president, he's got to put himself under a microscope. He's got to submit to serious examination. And the man who was charging him with illicit homosexual sex in the past is a very credible witness. He is no wild-eyed conspiracy theorist. Okay? Even your friend Webster Tarpley would have to admit that he's serious.
You believe the guy.
For some airplay. I didn't say I believed him or disbelieved him. I just said he deserves a hearing, a free and fair hearing. As you probably know, next Tuesday, this man is coming to New York and he's going to take a lie detector test.
Oh, really?
Yes, and if he passes it, it will cast some serious dispersions. But what I'm talking about is not only Barack Obama, it's corporate media. Where is the corporate media on this very serious charge? Nowhere. And even worse, well, we don't want to answer this very serious charge about our hero, Barack. So let's launch a crusade about some other person, such as the Republican John McCain.
Right.
Now, they suddenly dredge up this affair after 8 years. That's very serious. After 8 years, they, quote-unquote, suddenly discovered this.
Right. But it seems as though it's all about Hillary.
Well, it seems that Hillary has some things in her closet, too.
Oh, do you know about that?
Hillary hangs out with a lot of women, doesn't she?
I see.
And there are some very serious charges about that.
So, but the thing is now just a second. You're not homophobic, right? You're not saying...
Not anything. I am saying that the American people have a right to know. I'm not going in any one direction. I'm not for or against. The only thing I'm for is full and fair disclosure on the part of the next president of the United States.
Okay, let's put it this way, George. Do you trust the common man more than the leaders? That's the issue.
No, it isn't the issue. The issue is the media. The leaders rely on the media.
No, hang on. The media just means the medium. It's in the middle.
No, it means big corporate media has a responsibility with its broadcast licenses broadcast in the public interest tell the truth. And theoretically speaking, newspapers have a kind of license too. All right? And they could be wrong on some issues. But when they engage in a massive blackout and cover-up, as they are on this Barack Obama homosexual sex angle, and that is a massive blackout and cover-up, then that's very, very serious.
Okay.
In other words, I'm saying what many people have said in the past. If the people have truth shall set you free.
I see. Okay.
And they have every right to know the truth and to hear both sides of the issue, and not to have one side covered up and the other suddenly dragged out and said, why, do you know this man spit on the sidewalk some years ago? You know, let all the facts be aired. I'm not going in any one direction against or for any candidate. I'm saying let the truth come out. Let the wash come out, whether it's dirty laundry or clean laundry, and let the people decide.
Right, right. I'm trying to get an image up here to explain what you're saying. And let me see if I can make this work.
I'm not the first person to use the phrase marketplace of ideas.
Marketplace of ideas?
Marketplace of ideas. In other words, put free speech out there with many differing opinions, many differing point of views, many different charges and countercharges, and let the people decide.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is that's a cleansing process. This is a picture of Krishna. Can you see it?
No.
Are you looking at the stream?
Yes, but I only see...
Hit refresh.
Well, okay, but I'm not sure that's going to help, but let me try.
It should help because you can. I hope you can hear me. In any case, I'll be recording this. This is Krishna.
Oh, yes, I see some beautiful nude maidens.
Hey, hang on just 1 second. RabbitHoleCentral?
Paula, it's Mark Allen.
Oh, hang on just a second. Is there a number where I can call you back?
Just emailed it to you, yep.
Okay, thanks. Bye. George?
Yes.
I'm going to be calling somebody back, but I want to finish this point. This is Krishna, and these are the gopis. He had many, many lovers, and he had this amazing capacity to make all of them happy, or all of them devastated, depending on, you know, the time and circumstance. But they were taking a bath, and they put their saris on the bank. And while they were taking a bath in the river, he took their saris and put them up in a tree. And the idea is that these were one of the playful episodes of Krishna that helps us understand divinity. And what it means is that to get close to God, you have to be naked.
Ah, cleanliness is next to godliness, huh?
Yeah, and you know, in Egyptian temples, you were supposed to go into the temples and worship right after you took a bath in the Nile River, and you would just shoot straight away as fast as you could into the temple right after you took your bath, so that you should not be clothed. And even to this day in India, a man should not come into a temple with a top on. He should be topless.
Well, I think there's nothing better to worship than naked women taking a bath. I think that's one of the best things in the world to worship.
Well, I think on that note, we'll be saying goodbye to Ugly George, the Krishna of the day, okay?
Okay, thanks, Paula.
Yeah, thank you for calling in.
Okay.
Bye. So now what I'm going to do is stay on this image, and I'm going to be calling back somebody. I wonder if I could keep this. It's so fast connection, but it goes slowly. The connection speed. What I'm hoping to do is do a lot more work with healing, human healing. And I have already talked about my own encounter with the whole mammogram and RabbitHoleCentral.
Hi, Rosie Grable here instead.
Hey, Rosie. That's great to hear from you. Hey, hang on just a second. RabbitHoleCentral.
I'm sorry about that, Paul. I have no idea why they wouldn't put it through.
Oh, I've got Rosalie on, but I can't get both of you on unless I call you back.
How about if I give you a different number, which is direct to me?
Okay.
I'll email it to you.
Okay, bye. Rosalie?
Hi.
Hi, are you ready to talk about this Photoshop thing, or should we do it tomorrow?
I can talk about it, and I've got a few pictures that are seeable, but I don't have video produced, and I wasn't expecting this to become such a big deal to have to prove such a simple concept.
Well, you just tell me what you want me to do, because Alan is standing by to scrutinize the Photoshop tomorrow, but he may not be here today.
Okay, I thought he was on the line.
No, that's Marcus Allen, your friend.
Which one is?
Turthsleuth's on the other line. I wanted to have Alan Steinfeld just available for, well, hang on, just one sec. Maybe Alan's...
Okay, well,
Oh, but just a second. If Alan hasn't seen anything, he can't make any comment. You know what I mean? Rosalie?
Sure.
Well, okay.
Tired of being lied about, and I want a chance to...
Like me. I know Alan is going to analyze your argument tomorrow, but just explain to me.
It's so elementary, it gets hard to argue. It's amazing how brainless the fact that a transparency grid is just a pattern. It donates, it notates a lack of color. It's not a thing in itself. It doesn't matter how many layers there are in a picture. They're not going to show on the final picture that just the transparentness.
So it's just something that you use while you're producing your product.
Yeah, all it is a notation that there is no picture in that spot, and it's going to just take on the default color when the file is exported.
So what you're saying is, no matter how many layers that you had of this kind of, it looks like a net, it would never show up on the final product.
Never, ever, ever. Doesn't matter how many layers there are. It's like a sign. It's just something to catch your eye and let you know that there's nothing printable there.
You know, earlier on Nico's page, when I was looking at the directed energy weapons, there was a group of people standing outside, and one of them, it said it was so obviously photoshopped. It didn't even look like Photoshop. It looked like a kid could kind of cut out a cutout and lay it on.
Well, that's what they look like.
So even in the bad Photoshop, you still wouldn't be seeing a grid. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying that too.
You're saying that too. Okay, hang on just a second. Rabbit hole. I keep getting. Anyway, we're still together here. That's so interesting. That's so interesting. I keep getting. Anyway, we're still together here. That's so interesting. That's so interesting. How you can have good and bad jobs done, but no matter how bad the job is, you're never going to have a grid showing. Is that what you're saying?
Not from the layers.
Not from the layers.
Yes, you have a grid-like effect showing, but that is from the compression.
That's from the compression. Okay.
Hang on.
RabbitHoleCentral.
Paula.
Yeah, is this Marcus?
It is, yeah.
Well, you better redeem yourself here. I'm starting to learn about Photoshop.
Oh, well, I sent you another email with, I mistyped the number.
You did? Okay,
Hold on so you make
I'm going to give it one last shot here, okay?
Okay.
Hang on. Or you say goodbye and I'll call you back.
Okay, very well.
Goodbye. Rosalie?
Yeah.
I'm going to give it one last chance, okay?
Okay.
Okay, we hang in there. I'll call you back. I'm paying for this extra service here. Want to make sure the lines are clear.
Hey.
Okay, hang on. And now I am going to call.
Noise.
Oh, did you hear an awful noise?
Yeah.
Hang on. Shoot.
Testing.
Okay, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm sorry.
Oh, good to practice this for tomorrow, too.
Right, okay. I don't know if we need it tomorrow. This is so much simpler than I thought. But hang on.
We got it.
All right, hang on. Hello, Rosalie?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Okay, and Marcus?
I am here too. Hi.